In today's video, we're going to talk about how to hire a virtual assistant from Ukraine. You're going to learn about why you should hire a virtual assistant, how exactly to train them, and where to find them. If you stick around to the end of the video, we're revealing the exact site where you can find many virtual assistants. For those of you that are new here, my name is Benjamin Morone. I'm the founder of Zabota. We staff talent from Central, Eastern Europe, and Latin America into businesses in these states. I've personally conducted over 1,000+ interviews and have hired hundreds of candidates. Let's jump into the video. Why should you hire a virtual assistant? If you're a small business owner, an agency owner, and you have a bunch of busy work and admin work, if you don't have someone who's taking that off of your plate, you're going to hit a capacity and energy threshold much sooner compared to someone who already has leverage and has a virtual assistant helping them out take out that busy work. Here's a graph to explain capacity and energy levels. Here's you. You're at this certain capacity. You're doing everything you can. You're working 50, 60 hours a week. You just feel like you can't get ahead. This leads to some low energy and some burnout. Compare that to someone who has a virtual assistant. They're going to have higher energy. They're going to have double that capacity. Every day you go to work, they're getting twice as much done because they're freed up from all of that busy work. The only way you're going to actually be able to grow your business is by leverage. Hiring someone else, having them help with that client fulfillment, having them take busy work off of your plate, it's going to allow you to get a lot more done. If you don't hire, you're just limited. You're going to be limited by your own energy and how much you can do within the same 24 hours as everyone else. Let me explain a little bit more about my experience with virtual assistants. When I first started working with virtual assistants, I was back in college. Now this wasn't to do my schoolwork and allow me to focus on my job, but it was actually the opposite. I was working full-time at a tech company and I needed to free myself up for an extra 3 to 4 hours a day so I could actually go to classes and pass my degree. I was struggling to juggle providing for myself and then also passing school. I had worked with VAs in the past as an intern at a different company, but I never actually hired one on my own. I quickly found one online, taught them how to do sales follow-ups, emails, calendar management, note-taking, CRM stuff to assist me with the sales part of my day and my career. This freed up an extra 3-4 hours a day so I could go to school and focus and actually get my degree. This is a picture of me at that tech company where I worked. I was winning a trophy for the largest deal closed. This was about 3 or 4 months after I hired the virtual assistant to free me up from all that busy work and help me with the sales side of things. If I didn't hire that virtual assistant, I don't know if I would have been able to close this deal because I would have had to choose school or work. And luckily, since I had that virtual assistant, I was able to just close this big deal and not have to make that choice. At this point, we know we need a virtual assistant, but we need to make sure that we have the training in place. We can't just hire someone from online, put them into our business, and expect them to succeed. The depth of training, the type of training is really going to depend on how advanced they are, how advanced of a role they are, but then also how long-term this engagement is going to be. Is it going to be part-time? Is it full-time? Is it just project-based? That's going to determine the training. If it's something more part-time and project-based, you can basically do a training like this. Record a Loom or screen sharing video of the task that you're doing, have them watch it, ask you questions, and then they do the task with you watching them. You correct any mistakes, then they start doing the task on their own, and then you review the work towards the end of the day. This allows you to kind of have these checks and balances, review the quality, instead of just giving them a Loom, having them go do the task, and they may have a misunderstanding. You're not going to set them up for success. You're not going to get the result that you want, so it's better to do it this way. If this hire is going to be more advanced or longer term, have a 2-part onboarding. The first part is going to be the company contextual onboarding. This is going to give them context, kind of the lay of the land of your company and allow them to succeed. It's going to be the company's mission and vision, the core values, culture, hiring, firing practices, managing expectations, quarterly goals, key leaders, decision makers, basically like an org chart, celebration, improvement practices, philosophy, pay and benefits, those types of things. All of this information for this company contextual onboarding can be put into like a Gamma doc, a PowerPoint, a simple slideshow presentation. This can be evergreen. You can continually use it for each role that you bring on. So the virtual assistant, project manager, sales reps, the company context, the company, its core isn't going to change. And so you can keep this resource and use it for each of those roles. The second part of this onboarding is the role-specific onboarding. It's basically going to teach them how to do their job. What is the actual role that they're doing? It's going to be that job description, department expectations. You're going to go over that with them. The key performance indicators that are tracked, systems and technologies used, meeting schedules, cadences, tools and methods for actually achieving those key performance indicators. We have a 30-day onboarding and ramp guide for our clients and for anyone that we actually bring into our company. Basically, it looks like this. So welcome to our company. Here's the new hire training and agenda packet for whatever the role is. There's a meeting cadence. Let's say they're part of customer success. Maybe they're on a certain meeting cadence that says, hey, they have a daily huddle, 9 a.m. every single day at Eastern time. There's an end of day review for an hour each day at the end of the day. Now these are basically like placeholders. This can be changed around. This is basically just our template for it. We have a 4-week ramp up with new hire training. So new week agenda, an orientation, quick check-in, performance review, end of week feedback and QA, end of day wrap up, checkout form, checkout form, checkout form, checkout form. Basically this checkout form is giving you, the business owner, feedback on your onboarding process. Especially if this is your first or second hire, it's not going to be perfect. You need to get feedback on your onboarding process so you can continually improve it when you bring on more complex roles. This assignments page is basically every little step they need to do to get from being an outsider to working inside of your company. This is going to be custom depending on your business, but sign and submit work contract, fill out an onboarding form, log into a company email, create a Google Drive, accept all the invites for meetings, log into certain XYZ software, complete the tech stack onboarding, and there's certain training, there's certain things that they need to do, and then do certain tasks at a certain activity level. This is more for sales types of things. You can see these are discovery calls, end of day, like sales training, appointment training, those types of things. But depending on your process, your onboarding process, what they need to know to get inside of your company, you can change this. Here, you could put in logins. I would suggest using something like a Dashlane or a LastPass for sharing passwords, not a Google Sheet. A daily tracker. So in their first 30 days, set some top 3 goals with them. Here they have daily non-negotiables. Imagine you're a sales rep. It's going to be very, very easy to use this. You're like, okay, I need to make 100 calls each day. So that's going to be a daily non-negotiable. Start date, they're going to click, okay, I made 100 calls today. 100 calls. Oops. Click 1, they're 9% done, right, with that day. Here we can track all of the calling information, or the number of calls, the conversions, the emails, discos, those types of things. And then this is basically instructions on how to utilize this sheet. So if you really want to succeed with onboarding, if this is going to be a longer term role, you can use something like this. It's very, very simple to create in a Google Sheet. This takes maybe 45 minutes. Very, very simple, especially this. This is something that you need to have so you know what softwares they have access to. You know how far along they're actually going in this onboarding process. It's going to make onboarding ramp up a lot cleaner. Let's jump into the meat and potatoes of this. Where can we actually find these virtual assistants? WorkUA is the site that we're going to use to get started. There's some really solid talent on this site, but we really have to sift through it. We need to make sure they're able to speak English. We need to make sure that they're qualified for the role, and we need to make sure that they're actually active on WorkUA. So this is the WorkUA site, work.ua. If you're in Google Chrome, you can just translate it because this is in Ukrainian. If we search here, this is like we're looking for a job. Instead, we want to go to employer. Again, we'll have to go up here, change it, make sure it's in English. Now we can search for what we want. I'm going to say virtual assistant, search. We're going to scroll down to language knowledge. We want English, and then freely is the highest level on this platform. So go freely, and now we can start looking through these different people. So we see customer support specialist, sales manager, virtual assistant, dispatcher. Okay. Let's add this one too. We'll look through these 3. So first is this candidate. Looking through 3 months as a virtual assistant, kind of a short tenure. Wonder what happened there. I'd definitely ask about that if I was in an interview with them. Sales manager for over 2 years, 2.5 years at this point. That's good if you're looking for someone for more of that appointment side, maybe a sales mind. That's an okay tenure. Customer support manager, sales manager again. A lot of times there's customer support and then they have like these customer support reps doing like upsells and stuff. So it kind of blends the two. Make sure to watch out and look for that and figure out which one they actually are. This is 3 years, 3.5 years, pretty solid. 2.5 years. So this person's definitely skilled. They have good work experience. There's 6-7 years of work experience at this point. Accounting and finance degree, medicine, Looking through some of their knowledge and skills, Salesforce, okay, that's great. It's probably from their sales side of things, or their customer support. Google, incoming calls, Trello, if you're an agency owner, that's big. Language knowledge, so this is where we need to look. English is fluent, Russian advanced, Ukrainian medium, French elementary. So their English is fluent. This person is probably a foreigner inside of Ukraine. They're probably from Africa, because there's a lot of Africans, Nigerians in Ukraine. That's great. They're fluent in English. It's their first and native language. So that's going to be really, really strong as a virtual assistant compared to someone who's maybe not fluent in English. Maybe it's their second, third language. We'd have to do a little bit digging. But someone like this could be a great fit for a virtual assistant role. The second candidate is a personal and virtual assistant to a CEO and a team assistant for about a year and 1 month in the IT sector, in the government kind of sector. So maybe more of a corporate background. If you're hiring for an agency, this might not be the right fit. They're coming from more of a stiffer corporate background. When we look at this, you can see a law, IT. If you're more of a corporate business, a larger business, this person could be really, really valuable for you, because they already kind of understand corporate culture. They already are used to working with lots of decision makers. Let's see here, business personal assistant. Okay, international IT. Again, if you're in the IT industry, this is your person for a virtual assistant or executive assistant. Engineering firm. College degree. 8 years of studying English in the UK. English is fluent, Japanese medium, German medium, Ukrainian fluent. Then they have their messaging information. So how do we actually connect with someone like this? We can save them, and then we can go down and open their contact information. Usually we have to hit a button that will open up the contact information, and there is a fee with Work UA. Usually it's job postings. It's not too expensive. Last time I checked, it was like 20, 15 bucks US. It's not that much when there's that many different candidates on the platform. Let's do a search for an executive assistant. So we go to executive assistant, we search, we go down and make sure that English is selected freely. You could go into advanced if there were only like 10 freely virtual assistants or executive assistants on this. I would go to advanced, but you're really gonna have to do a lot more digging. You just don't know if that English level is high enough. So you need to invite them to an interview, maybe correspond with them, like a little phone screening interview to get a judge on that English level. That's the biggest downside of Work UA, is the English level is just all over the place. Someone will say they're advanced and it's really much lower than that. Someone will say freely and it's super high. Sometimes they'll be like, oh, I'm just above average with English, but it's super, super good. It's really all over the place. So you got to do a lot of digging on this platform. It's definitely not as easy as like a Fiverr or Upwork, but there's really some solid gems and really, really solid people and solid talent on this platform. Let's look at this business assistant. There's really not that much, so it's not going to tell us that much. Let's go back. Go to English. It's a little glitchy sometimes with the translation. That's part of what makes this hard. All right, so let's look at this administrator and assistant, office operations specialist, sales manager. This person's probably pretty solid, but I don't see a lot of experience with a virtual assistant experience or executive assistant experience. And so unfortunately, we're going to pass. Now we're going to look through here, assistant to the manager. English teacher, solid. Translator assistant to executive director. Retail trade, publishing editor. Okay, so probably pretty good written skills. Education, strong English, recommendations, that's really solid. Good information that's like filled out on this platform. There's some in here that it's like, oh, I speak English well and I almost completed university, and then they have no job experience. And it's like that person just didn't build out their profile. This person really took the time to put in that additional information, have recommendations, have their entire work history listed. So this is definitely someone who's put in the work. Here we go. Let's do this administrative and personal assistant. Mind Your Mind remote, medicine and pharmacy, 5 months as an admin assistant, a little bit short. So maybe I'd ask about that. This is probably someone who's a little bit more of a blank slate, but they've done training for virtual assistants. So it's good to see that they're looking for more education and more skills in that workplace. And it was pretty recent too. So this would actually be a good outreach. and reach out to someone, especially if you want someone a little bit more junior with that virtual assistant side of things, a little bit more of a blank slate. Social media manager for 8 months, and then assistant manager. So good to know that she has some social media experience, especially if you're looking at help with like branding, posting, that type of stuff. That could be useful. Let's say we wanted to interact with her. What we need to do is register as an employer or log in if we already have an account. You get some free vacancies or free contacts each month. I think it's 2 or 3. With a paid account, you can get 10 outreaches. You really don't need that much on this platform. With platforms, it's best to look at them as, okay, this is just one of the tools that we're going to use for getting talent. If you're just relying on Work UA to hire talent for your business, you're going to struggle. But there are gems on this platform. So it's just like a tool that you should add into your total recruitment process. With Work UA, it's pretty simple. You basically just search for the role that you want, and you make sure that the English level is advanced or fluent, and you filter through the candidates. If you find one that you like, you can sign up for an account and then outreach to them and invite them to a screening interview. Again, it's not something that you want to focus your whole recruitment strategy on. It's just going to be another tool in the tool belt for finding that ideal candidate.